All right, we're back at it, back at it. You were listening to sounds of DJ Lady Lethal. She's a member of On the Bench at Shake and Bake as a producer, but she's on the mix today. DJ Lady Lethal. All right, here we go. Back at it here at the Tavern at Campbellton. We want to thank them. We want to thank all the members of the SRN family for coming out and supporting the brand. You're listening to On the Bench with Mike B featuring the bench warmers, John and Dwayne. All right, gentlemen. All right, tournament time. It's almost here. Let's talk about this Kentucky team. Is it the greatest team ever? John, go ahead.
I think they got to win first before we start calling the greatest team ever. When you talk about the history of college basketball, they gotta win first before you start talking about the best all time, comparing them to some of the great teams all time. You got teams like the Fab Five who
that never won,
and I mean I would have to take the Fab Five over these guys, even though they're so long.
Pause. Tell me, Dwayne, what you think, man?
Well, obviously, if you're a historian of college basketball, you have to look at some of the teams, some of the earlier Georgetown teams. You have to look at UNLV with the Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon, Greg Anthony days. You have to look at some of the earlier Duke teams. So to say, really good point, John, I need to see the championship. Hey, 2 years ago, they thought Kentucky's team was the best team ever, and they got beat in the final game. So while they are a very talented team with a bunch of blue chip players, I need to see them win. I really think that they're going to get clipped up maybe third round of the tournament.
So you're saying
they've had some close calls this year, and I don't know how much people have followed Kentucky's game.
And see, that's the thing, though. And you said that they've had some close calls, which they have. But the one thing that's pretty interesting about the close calls that they have, in the last 5 minutes of the game, guess what showed up? NBA talent showed up. They were going down low to Karl Towns. They were hitting you with Trey Lyles. I mean, these people right now, this time next year, will be in the NBA. I mean, that's NBA talent. I mean, they got at least 7 to 8 players on this squad that's going to be playing and collecting the check next year if they're not collecting it now. John, go ahead.
That's the signature coaching style of their coach. He gets one and done players. He's won in the past. Can he win again? But to call this team one of the greatest teams of all time, going back to what Dwayne said, when you talk about some of those Duke teams that have 4-year players, I mean, they had chemistry that was just, overflowing, where they were just hard to beat any night, where the Kentucky team is hard to beat any night also. But as y'all said, I think the second, third round of the NCAA tournament could be difficult. If they get past that, I think they can go through and win it all.
And see, that's the thing. I think, like you said, getting through the Sweet 16 or getting through the Elite Eight is probably going to be the challenge. But right now they're at 30. They won today, so they're at 33-0. If they finish it out, they'll be 40-0. That has to go up there with the greats. When is the last time we've seen somebody go 40-0?
Indiana, I believe, right? Indiana.
It's been since Indiana's team. But you've had some great UCLA teams through the years. You've had great. That Syracuse 03 team was solid. I mean, obviously Carmelo was the key person there, but. Again, really great team. I need to see the ship, for one. And for two, I mean, it's in an era where, and we'll talk about this later, where the one and done factor has sort of watered down college basketball now. I mean, college basketball is what it is. March Madness will remain. However, it's just that in the era where you don't have continuity, I think Duke's really the only team that has continuous continuity from a freshman year to a junior year, and they're even moving to the one and done.
And they're moving in the mode of one and done. I mean, slowly but surely, over the last 5 or 6 years, Duke has had multiple players, and they're probably going to continue to have multiple players in that one and done system. John, tell me this. I mean, we've watched college basketball. I mean, the brand of college basketball, in my opinion, isn't as good as it was, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when you had the likes of Vince Carter, when you had the likes of Rasheed Wallace, and you had the likes of people like Antonio McDyess and different things like that. Why are we not seeing the talent now that we were seeing back then?
Well, I think NCAA basketball fans have gotten so gone on the tournament that the players are a little bit less skilled. However, I think the tourney is what kills the NCAA basketball season. People look so forward to the tournament, it makes the regular season kind of like, well, we'll see what happens on Selection Sunday, because everybody's going to tune into the tournament. They're not going to tune into every single game, even if it's a team that you follow.
Every team. Dwayne, what's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, good point, John. Because with brackets, I mean, every business or every organization does a bracket, and obviously that's when college basketball is in full gear. People aren't really looking at the regular season and like before, where you couldn't wait to day one, because for the first part they're playing cupcakes the first 8 or 9 games of the season. Then you're into the second tier of the season. The one and done factor, again, I think has watered down college basketball. I'm not a fan of the one and done. Because it waters down the NBA, in my opinion. But at the same token, man, you put the best people out on the court to play, but the continuity factor is gone. And every year, right now, can anyone name someone on North Carolina's team? Every year, I mean, some of us can. We can.
I mean, but you know what?
We can.
Obviously,
we
yeah.
can. But
the North Carolina team, obviously, because the ACC is the best conference in college basketball.
Agreed.
So you are watching that a little bit more than some of the other conferences that you are watching. So I could potentially name somebody on that squad, but I couldn't tell you anybody. I couldn't tell you 2 players in the Big Ten. John, could you? I mean, that's your conference. Can you name 2 players outside of the boy at Ohio State, Russell? I can't tell you anybody in the Big Ten.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
you got the Kaminsky guy, but that's about it for
Wisconsin.
Right.
That's the center.
Other than that, really good point. Even Michigan, I mean, the perennial powerhouses like Michigan, you can't name. I mean, Spike Albright, is that like their guy?
No clue who that is.
The thing is, though, in 2 weeks you will be able to name those guys. In 2 weeks, you'll be able to name players you never even heard of from a school you probably never even talked about before
because of the tournament.
They're going to show out the next couple of weeks. So that's what I'm saying. It goes back to the tourney. The tourney is what gets people lit up for college basketball, and that's what takes away from, the regular season and people following kind of like they do the NFL.
You're right. You're sitting here listening to On the Bench. We're live from the tavern here on Camelton. All right, Dwayne, you mentioned the one and done, and you said that you're not a fan. Explain why you're not a fan of the one and done.
Well, because I'm such an NBA fan, and I love for the NBA brand to continue as it has. Again, I'm an 80s kid. I'm an 80s and early 90s kid when NBA was what it was. In my opinion, the one and done just sort of waters down the league. We had a guy, Daniel Orton, some years ago with Kentucky, and I always reference this guy who left Kentucky after 1 year after averaging 2.2 points per game in college. And now Daniel Orton's he went over to Greece and then he went to China, and now he's out of the league. So from a professionalism standpoint, I think it kills that. It kills a person honing their skills, which leads to longevity, which leads to eternal income. I think that's my issue with it.
Oh, and we're going to talk about John. Step in.
Me and Dwayne always butt heads on this issue. I believe in a right to work. I don't understand why the NBA is the only sport where you got to go for a year of college, but not in baseball, tennis, golf. If you're good enough to go to the pros in those sports, you go. But for that young black athlete, most of the time, no, go to school, make that school some money first, and then you can go to the NBA. Was school right for LeBron?
No.
So you got to treat, you got to treat it. You can't be selective with it. It's a right to work. If you're good enough to go, then you're good enough to go. If you're not, you're not.
All right,
the NBA will sift you out.
I see. This is the thing. Now, for every Daniel Orton, there's a John Wall or a Carmelo Anthony, and that's the thing. It works for certain people and it doesn't work for certain people, but that's life, in my opinion. I don't think the one and done is really affecting. I think it's affecting college basketball to the point now that you can only name 6 or 7 players in the draft that I can remember. And then also with that, all the people that you're naming, guess what they are? They're freshmen. They're freshmen.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the draft that's coming up, that's getting ready to come up. You're probably the first 3 people drafted are probably going to be Okafor from Duke, probably Towns from Kentucky, and then the boy that went overseas, Moutier, who was supposed to go to SMU.
Mike B. The reason why they're freshmen though is because we put so much emphasis on AAU, McDonald's All-Americans, and all this amateur athleticism before they go to college. Those are the kids you know about now. It's not the sophomore or the junior at Michigan or Duke. It's the guy that's coming out of high school that can jump out the gym, that's got your local neighborhood jumping. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be those guys that they phenoms in AAU now. So that's why you know about freshmen.
Go ahead, Dwayne.
I think one of my major concerns with the one and done factor is now it's gotten so bad that you have high school sophomores and juniors not playing their senior year of high school. So that adversely affects the educational piece of it. I mean, I understand you go to college to get the best job possible, but when it's starting to affect a core education, there have been like 5 or 6 kids in the last 2 years that's declared their senior year of high school to go overseas to play in terms to come to the NBA. So I look at that piece of it. That's one of my major concerns with it. But obviously you have the LeBron James out there. You have the Garnetts who
but those are the high school. Let's look at some of the one and dones that are in the league currently.
John Wall comes to mind. I mean, Kevin Durant comes to mind.
Gilchrist.
Yeah,
he's a good.
That's one of the
great point. What is he doing in the league?
I mean, he's going
to be out of the league in 2 years. Oh yeah, right.
Oh no. He won't be out. I mean, it's hard to kick people.
I haven't seen it.
It's hard to kick somebody 6'10" out of the league.
Kid Gilchrist?
Kid Gilchrist is 6'10". He's going to be in the league.
Have you seen him on any?
We're probably going to see him in the playoffs against the Hawks.
Well, we'll see him then.
But look, I mean, a boy that this week was straight frying on Thursday night with Kyrie Irving. He played 9 games in college.
Yeah, and it took him about 5 years to be successful.
So
that's good. And this is the 5th year.
After 5 years to be successful though. And
I don't know. No, I don't think it's 5 years.
Well, I may be exaggerating a little bit with the 5 years, but that's one instance where it's worked.
Yeah, so, he came in 2011. But I mean,
there are pros and cons to it. I think again, when it starts hitting our educational process, and when kids are now looking so much at, hey, I need to jump ship to where they're not getting their high school diploma, it's getting ridiculous. Then now you're having kids recruiting LeBron James' son.
Yeah,
this guy's like 9 years old.
That's ridiculous. That part is definitely ridiculous. John, go ahead.
I don't agree with recruiting middle school kids. I mean, that's going a little too far. Like I said, that's going back to making phenoms out of amateurs, and I think that's got to do with what we're talking about with the one and done. But I also got to go back to people's right to work. Why is it that in the NBA you can't go to the pros, but in baseball, how many people washed out of baseball? We're not talking about them.
That's true.
We're not talking about the people washed out of AA or single A. We're talking about the NBA, the young black male. The sport is dominated by young black males. That's what we're talking about. They got a problem with that one and done. Not the baseball. You don't have to do none. You know what I'm saying? So
right, and they're signing people at 16.
It's kind of like a culture issue to me.
It is. All right, this is real quick. We're here at the Tavern, broadcasting live on Campbellton Road. This is On the Bench with Mike B, featuring the bench warmers, John and Dwayne. I have the SRN family here with me, along with some of the OTB people that support the thing. And with that said, we got a tower of beer over here for everybody. So pour up if you're a part of the family and part of the team. That one is on us. So go ahead. Let's get it going. All right. Also, let's continue with this real quick. If Kentucky does run the table, I want to know, where will they rank?
You got to rank them. You got to rank them up there just because they went undefeated. That's just like, I hate to kind of parlay the boxing, but that's just like when we talk about Floyd. He's undefeated. You can't knock that. They haven't lost. If they don't lose, they got to be considered among the greats. That's all I'm saying, though, is they have to win first. But if they don't lose, that team is going to break up this year. Everybody knows that. But what can you say about them if they go undefeated and run the table?
I mean, Dwayne?
Yeah, they certainly – you have to, just from the undefeated perspective, period, you have to put them in the top 5 or so, top 10. But, again, if you're a lifetime basketball fan, you have to look at UCLA teams of the early years. You have to look at Duke.
All right, but, I'm glad you said that. Let's look at the modern day. Let's start with Patrick Ewing going north. All right, where would they rank? Where would this Kentucky team rank with those teams?
I think the 85 and 85 Georgetown team would beat this Kentucky team. I just think they were deeper. They were more experienced.
They were deeper? This team goes almost 11 deep.
They were deeper. That's why they won the title. It's because you had players who had played with each other for years throughout, and they had continuity with each other, and they were able to gel. Just the brand of basketball in itself these days versus back in the day is just different. These guys now, in my opinion, couldn't withstand some of the physicality of today's game.
Right.
Of yesteryear's game. So, again, I think that factor alone would really knock them out the box. Not to say they wouldn't compete, because they're super athletic. I mean, you cannot trump athleticism in a sense, but I think wit and skill and experience would trump athleticism.
All right, so here, in the last 30 years, because that's 30 years, what's the top 5 teams to do with you? John, let's start it off.
Well, you got to put Coach K's Christian Laettner, Bobby Hurley team. They got to be up there.
Is it because
I'm not saying they're number 1, but you got to put them up there in that top 5. You got to put the Running Rebs up there with Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon. As much as I hate to say it, you really can't put the Fab 5 in there because they didn't win. If we're talking about winning,
we're talking about winning.
This is a team that I love, man. But I mean, woo.
All right, so go ahead. What's Dwayne? Jump in here. Name some other ones. So we got the Fab 5. No. We got the Running Rebels, and we got
Duke,
and we got Duke. 95
UCLA.
95 UCLA. That is a great point. 95 UCLA. Toby Bailey.
I think
the O'Brien brothers. They had they had them. So give me somebody else.
1990 Michigan with Rice.
Yeah, the North Carolina teams with Vince Carter and Anton Jameson.
They didn't win.
They didn't win. I mean, that's one game. I don't know.
Hold on. Did they make it? Did they make it to the?
Yes, they made it to the Final Four. I forget what year that was, but they didn't win it.
96.
The team with Vince Carter and
Vince Carter,
Jameson,
Ed Quota.
I think Quota was the point guard back then.
Somebody flamed him.
Got to put Florida
back to back. Florida's up there.
Continuity.
But see, that's the thing. This team has continuity. They have sophomores and juniors on this team.
Mike, let's put this team up against Florida. That's a good one. That's a great one to pick and put them up against.
All right, let's put them up
against Al Horford. Joe Kim. Corey Brewer.
And what was the guard's name? I can't remember the guard's name. He washed out of the league.
Right.
He washed out of the league. Not the guy that was of Caucasian descent. What was his name? I can't think of his name. But anyways, this team, you know what? They got to win it first before we can have this discussion. And when they do win it, that's what's going to make it interesting.
And then we'll revisit this ranking system that we're doing right now.
So we got the 4. So you got
if they Mike B, I hate to cut you off, but if they don't win it, this will be a team we're not talking about next year. We're gonna forget about them. If they don't win it, let's be real.
Yeah, because they'll all be in the league.
Right. We're gonna forget about them. So
best one and done team ever.
Best one and done team ever. That's a good way to put it.
That's definitely a good way to put it. I mean, Dwayne, let's before we finish this up, tell me this. Who you like in the tournament, man?
You know, obviously Kentucky is the favorite. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer. Arizona has a good team out west. They're a team not to sleep on. But then, you know, you have a team like, even though Louisville lost to North Carolina, they have that Pitino pedigree. So, you know, they may step in there. Wisconsin is solid, but I just don't know if their strength of competition throughout the year will withstand against some of the better teams. So,
all right, John, who you got?
All the teams Dwayne said. You got, you know, Wisconsin, Arizona. Those are teams that can do some damage. But like I said earlier, it's going to be some teams that we haven't been talking about all year. Your VCUs, who won today and beat Davidson, that are going to come in and make some noise. They're going to win in those first 2 rounds. And, you know, it's always room for a Cinderella story. But when you talk about Kentucky, you know, they're going to steamroll a bunch of teams.
They are going to steamroll a couple of teams. It's going to be interesting to see who plays out. I mean, there's going to be teams like Maryland. There's going to be teams like Villanova that will show up. And when they show up, who'd you say? Who? From Maryland. What's up, brother? All right. With that said, hey, real quick. Who? Yeah, just those 2. All right. So with that said, on the bench and the SRN family, we got some chicken wings. courtesy of On the Bench. So dig into those chicken wings, along with some of the brews that we got right here. All right, so when we come back, we're going to get ready to hear some more sounds from DJ Lady Lethal, and we'll be back, and we're going to be getting on the NBA. So stay with us right here on the bench, here at the Tavern, broadcasting live on Campbellton.
Man, huh? Fast, huh? Man.
She a bust it down for a damn mama. Nah, Georgia was never up. Arkansas was up. Up a nigga phone, what I tell your ass about that? I know something on my nuts to hold that. Thank you, brother. I'm out, brother. All right, man. Thank y'all, man. Where y'all at tomorrow? Hey, send it to me. Yeah, send it to me. Yeah. Yeah. What time y'all doing it? Y'all doing it for the selection? For the selection. So about 6? No doubt. Hey, thank y'all, man. Oh, Randy Rand came through.
It's so good to see the love, man.
Are you ready to get us going? Okay. Yeah. Randy Rand. Hey, don't let him drink nothing. Hey, Randy. Oh, okay. Hey, and there's some chicken wings over here too. All right. Welcome back to On the Bench live here at the Tavern at Campbellton. We want to definitely thank the Tavern for allowing us to do this, and we're doing it live here for y'all. We broadcast every Saturday from 9 to 10 on the Survivor Radio Network. I definitely want to thank all the friends and family that came out, but I also want to thank the Survivor Radio Network for allowing us to do this each and every week. The Survivor Radio Network is a company that has a multiple shows that fosters so many different things, from people that talk about small businesses to people that talk about passions to people that talk about the art of conversation to people that talk about green. So you can find a lot of different things, and we bring the sports element to it. So we're just proud to be a part of the Survivor Radio Network, and we're also proud to be here at the Tavern doing it live. All right, gentlemen, here we go. You know, we on the last drive in the NBA season. We're in the last month of the season before the real season start. Let's talk about it, John. Go ahead.
As we talked about last week, everybody, Westbrook does it again last night. Another triple-double. Just a fantastic performance last night and throughout the last 2 or 3 weeks. Definitely, stepping into another echelon of players. Hawks come back again last night, and in the fourth, just killing with threes from everywhere.
It was a barrage of threes.
5 or 6 from everywhere. The Hawks seem like they're for real. It's kind of the same story. Hawks seem for real. Cavs seem for real. Playoffs about to start. We're about to answer a lot of questions.
All right, Dwayne, what's your take on it, man?
What's been my moniker all year?
These Atlanta Hawks.
These Hawks, man. I mean, I think they're the story of basketball this year. Again, as John mentioned, another comeback win last night. Hey, Westbrook has catapulted himself into MVP talk. I mean, obviously it depends on the performance of the team and how well they do as a team. But man, the numbers he's putting up is incredible. And you may start wondering who's the real leader of that team in Oklahoma City.
And you know what? That's a great conversation. I mean, when is
Korver, Damari Carroll, Millsap that can step up. So with that factor being said, I believe that's the difference in this Hawks team versus teams of the past.
A lot of people have a bona fide superstar. A lot of people go back to the Pistons.
That's the only team. That's the only team I can remember in the last 20, 30 years that didn't have not one player on the team that was of Hall of Fame status. We got somebody joining the bench. Go ahead. Who are you?
Pleasure to be here. And I just like to reference the Spurs last year, and I know they have superstars on the team, but
they have Hall of Famers on the team.
They have Hall of Famers on the team, but the performances that won them the championship last night, there wasn't one dominant Hall of Fame player that set the tone for that series. It was a collection of individuals that made big shots at the right times. I mean, we're talking about Boris Diaw and Ginobili, having a great series, or Duncan having a great series, or even Parker for that matter. So I think the Hawks have the right recipe going to be able to do something to make a legitimate push.
All right, so this is the thing. Are you betting on the Hawks?
Well, I mean, I feel like it'll be a safe bet because, I mean, who else are you going to bet on? The Cavaliers, they've won nothing. So they're on the same level as the Hawks.
But they have somebody who's won something.
Well, you have one guy who's won something, and I mean, that didn't help them last year when you had three guys.
The Hawks have one guy who's won something, Budenholzer. That's it.
I mean, yeah, and I'd rather have a coach who's won something and that is hungry
than the person that's on the court.
Well, I mean, when we're talking about LeBron James, are we going to get I want to be really cool and look good on TV, LeBron James? Or are we going to get this? We don't see LeBron James with that fire like a Russell Westbrook or even a Kobe Bryant. They just really want to.
That's huge coming from you.
When you see Kobe, when he was much in the past, those glory days, Kobe, you always felt like there was a look on his face of disgust with a teammate for.
That's the thing. So who on the Hawks is that guy?
I think everybody is that guy. You keep having these guys reiterating the fact that we are hungry. We've been to the playoffs now for the last few years, and we've kept getting put out. But now we've got guys who we've been there. Now we want to reach the next level. We're tired of being on the same plateau.
Would you agree that if they don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, the season is a bust?
If they don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, the season is a bust. Just because we've never had a season like this, a regular season where we've played this well and dominated teams for the most part, the Cavaliers included. I mean, we're 3-1 against them. I mean, and so we haven't had a season reflective of this season. So, yeah, if we don't at least get to the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals, that is, unless we're put out by a Cleveland that's going to get superstar calls and, does have, one of the top guys in the league on their team.
All right, go ahead, Dwayne.
Hey, really good points, Wayman. And one thing that Wayman mentioned and we keep talking about is the Spurs, and how that ties into the Hawks is Mike Budenholzer, who's under the Greg Popovich tree. And I believe that the Hawks have adopted the same method of winning, 4 or 5 players every night on any given night. And I think that determining factor is what makes me believe that the Hawks will succeed this year.
I don't know
into the playoffs. I mean, you cannot turn away from experience and being there before. And Budenholzer was Popovich's right-hand man throughout those 4 titles.
Nah, because Mike Brown was on that staff, and Mike Brown was a bum.
No, I mean, Mike Brown won 61 games.
Mike Brown is a bum.
I don't know how many years. I mean, I understand your Laker discuss.
No, but he's a bum. He's a bum. PJ Carlesimo, he's a bum.
I just don't know if 61 wins constitutes you being a bum.
I mean, but this is the thing. I mean, 61 wins with who? The best player in the game, right?
Well, we're going to talk about that. Then Phil Jackson is not one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Let's not forget that LeBron beat the Spurs also.
Yeah,
LeBron and the Heat beat the Spurs.
It was so close,
but LeBron Washington beat the Spurs. All right, but one thing I want to say is if Atlanta can get to the finals and possibly win the finals, I think it'll make the city. I mean, it'll be like something never before. It'll be amazing because when you talk about Atlanta and the surrounding areas. When's the last time we had a champion here? Since 1995.
That's the only championship.
People really gather around baseball like that. when you talk about basketball, football, you're talking about a whole nother beast. I mean, that would put the Hawks on the map forever as being, arguably one of the greatest teams out here, the way they're shooting the ball, especially Kyle Korver when you talk about 50, 50, and 90. You have one of the best seasons ever.
Are you guys watching the Hawks play? I mean,
yeah, I mean, you have to watch them. I mean, they're constantly on every night.
I mean, do they deserve to be? Is it not exciting basketball?
It is exciting. I have to admit, it is exciting, but do you trust it? That's the question. The question is, do you trust it?
It's exciting as a Georgia resident. Any true Atlantans in here, like any born and raised Atlanta
that love the Hawks.
Remember the Dominique Wilkins, Cliff Livingston days. Where do you rank this team with teams of the past? Because really, Michael Jordan was their nemesis, as he was,
or Larry Bird,
as he was to several other
greats.
Other
right.
people. So
Excellent
I mean,
point.
Dominique went toe to toe. And speaking of Dominique,
Or
shout
Paul
out
George.
to the statue unveiling.
The statue. What did you say, John?
Well, I said Paul George has been a nemesis too the last couple of years.
We're not going to speak of Paul. They've never achieved anything worthy of speaking about.
No, but
let's
seriously though,
those gentlemen from this conversation.
All right, so this is the thing. So it's Eastern Conference Finals or bust for the Hawks.
And unless you're derailed by the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are, like I said, LeBron's going to get those superstar calls, and the Hawks aren't. And I mean, that's one thing that's going to set us apart. I mean, at the end of the day, just who wants to see the Hawks in the finals as opposed to everybody wants Cleveland there. I mean, there's been this resurgence for Cleveland and the Cavaliers and Dan Gilbert, on the return of LeBron. And, I would love the Cinderella story seeing the Hawks in there. I mean, it'd be great for our city, everybody here that lives in Atlanta. I mean, it will be huge for us. So I feel like they deserve it. And I feel like at the end of the day, we will be there. We will be there.
Well, there it is. You heard it here on the bench with Wayman joining the bench saying that the Hawks will be in the finals. That is happening on March 14th, 2015, on the bench at the Tavern.
I will say this: if you watch the Hawks play, they play a different brand of basketball as far as moving the ball. They move the ball. They don't just move the ball for the three. They can do that, but they move the ball for the best shot on the floor. You don't see too many teams do that last 10, 20 years with the superstars. So that's what gives them a leg up to me, is they move the ball better than anybody in the NBA, and it's not for a three or a dunk.
Anyone.
All right, so let's keep it. Let's move it around. Let's go back to the other side. Let's go to the West. Who's the favorite coming out of the West, or who do you want to see come out of the West? Let's start with you, Dwayne.
Well, you obviously have to say the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they have the best record. The Rockets quietly are doing well out there. But then you got Memphis that no one really talks about because they're not the
grindhouse.
If that squad, the grindhouse. They have defense, they have coaching, and they have a really solid point guard play from Conley, who's very underrated in my opinion.
I agree.
And then you have Zebo and you have Marc Gasol out there. So
I mean, they got and Vince Carter coming off the bench. I mean, they got a solid squad.
That's a team that no one really talks about, but that could really beat any team in the West on any given day.
John, who you got coming out the West?
This being honest with you, I mean, I like to see the Thunder with a healthy Kevin Durant and Westbrook go to the playoffs. I mean, that's what you want to see. The way Westbrook's been playing and a healthy Kevin Durant, I think that's the creme de la creme in the West. I don't want to see the Spurs again, personally. I love watching Westbrook play, how hard he plays. But I would like to see the Thunder, but I mean they kind of struggling a little bit right now in the bottom of the Western Conference playoff standings. But I mean with a healthy KD and Westbrook, I don't know. I mean I think they could go on a little run.
I mean they're in the potential first round with Golden State. You're shaking your head like you want to say something about.
When you talk about the West, I think it's almost disrespectful not to even mention Golden State. I mean until you just mention them. I mean. They're obviously the front runners.
I think, he mentioned, Dwayne mentioned.
I mean, they're obviously the front runners. I mean, Kevin Durant coming back and Russell Westbrook, that will be a nice story. But, I mean, I feel like you have to give credit where credit is due. The Golden State Warriors, they're going back and forth with the Hawks for the best record in the, in the NBA. And, I mean, just the level of play and how deep they are and, the way they play basketball every night is more consistent than anybody else in the Western Conference.
It's almost like they had the same story as the Hawks, even when you talk about them over the past couple seasons. And that's the thing. It's like moving forward when we get to the playoffs, what's going to happen to Golden State? What's going to happen to the Hawks? Is it going to be the same old story? Is it going to be different this year? That's the question.
You're right.
They've had great teams. Well, not the Hawks necessarily, but Golden State's ran like this in the past. But then you fizzle out, second, third round of the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to watch those two teams. In my opinion, out of those two teams, who's going to go the furthest? I would say the Hawks, just because they move the ball for the best shot, not the three or the dunk, whereas Golden State moves the ball for the best three, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, obviously with Golden State also.
Live by, die by.
Well, they do live by it and they die by. Both teams do. But see, this is the thing, though. With Golden State, they have a much tougher road to get through the West.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
But in the West, you are afforded the courtesy of having teams that are really good, that are going to beat up on one another. So I feel like if you're able to dodge a bullet with the Golden State Warriors, I would say dodging a bullet right now will be getting the Oklahoma City Thunder in that first round. But is
that what you really want? Is Golden State? I doubt Golden State really wants to see.
Is Kevin Durant back healthy?
I mean, he'll probably be back before. I think. We got somebody else comment. What did you say? By the time the playoffs start, I mean, he has potential to be healthy. I mean, it's going to definitely be interesting to see what happens. But the West standings, I mean, you got Golden State. I mean, any team that makes the playoffs in the West has a chance to run. They got a chance. And I just don't remember a time when I've ever seen that, where any team 1 through 8 could win a conference.
I wouldn't say 1 through 8. I mean, maybe Golden State, maybe the Clippers, and maybe I guess you have to give the Spurs a leg up, but I don't see any other team that might Memphis. I'm sorry, and Memphis, those 4 teams.
So you don't
the Rockets.
So you don't think the Rockets with James Harden and if Dwight Howard comes back?
James Harden, he's not going to be able to carry that team through the Western Conference playoffs night after night. I mean, he shoots. He's an incredible player. He shoots a great percentage from the free throw line, but I mean, without a healthy Dwight Howard and a productive Dwight Howard, I mean, they're just going to be they'll be one of those scrappy teams that gets put out by a Portland or something like they did last year.
Dwayne, jump in here. What's your thoughts? You think Dallas can make a run?
No. If they were in the East, maybe. Being in the West, no. My answer to that is no.
No. All right, you're sitting here listening to On the Bench with Mike B, featuring John and Dwayne, the bench warmers. We have Wayman joining the bench with us, discussing the NBA playoff situation. All right, John, who's the MVP?
A lot of people saying James Harden, but I mean, my MVP is Russell Westbrook right now. I mean, when you're doing what he's doing for triple doubles and carrying that team in the absence of KD, I like Russell Westbrook as my MVP, especially if the Thunder can move up in the Western rankings for the playoffs.
All right, Wayman, who you got as your MVP?
Huge fan of Russell Westbrook. However, seeing as how they're struggling to even be in the playoff race right now, and we don't even know that they will. We don't even know that we'll see Russell Westbrook in the postseason. So right now, I would have to go with James Harden. The Rockets are in a good place. I don't think they'll make a deep playoff run, but in terms of being in the tough Western Conference and your team being right there, consistently in the top 4, and just what he's done without Dwight Howard, I think you have to give credit where credit is due and recognize that man is a true baller.
All right, Dwayne, who you got?
All viable MVP candidates. One person we didn't mention is Steph Curry, based on what he's doing, and obviously the MVP oftentimes is not the very, very best player in the league that year. It all depends on success of the team, and typically the number 1 team or number 2 teams gets the MVP. So with that being said, you have to think of someone like a Steph Curry. You have to put LeBron in the conversation. I mean, I don't think he'll win it, but he has to be in that conversation. Westbrook is in my opinion, if you want to look at the single person who's doing the single most for his team right now, by far it's Russell Westbrook. But oftentimes they're not warranted the MVP award.
All right, so this is the thing. I'm definitely rolling with Russ. I mean, I think Russ is doing, even though his team is, struggling to make the playoffs, is bananas. He's just going nuts. So I'm rolling with Russ as my MVP candidate. But every single one of those is a hell of a pick. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of those. And I think that, it's a special season because we haven't had a season where we've been able to discuss 4 potentially MVPs in a year, John.
The two-handed dunk Westbrook did the week before last on that dude, man. I mean, He won MVP that night for me. When I watched ESPN that morning, he won MVP. When I saw him dunk on that kid like that. But the other thing is, last week he was on the verge of breaking Wilt Chamberlain's consecutive triple-double record. I mean, we're talking about
no. I think it was Mike.
I think it was Wilt. It might have been Wilt and Mike, but I know Wilt was part of it. It was either 5 or 6. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean,
but when you're talking about breaking serious records here, when you're talking about going back 50 years to the Hall of Famers that are some of the greatest players of all time.
And I understand about the breaking records part, and I love Russell Westbrook. But the only reason I wouldn't give him my vote for MVP right now is because, like I said, they're struggling to make the playoff. They're not in the playoffs right now. So if I'm gonna consider a guy who we might not even see in the postseason as the MVP, I have to go with Anthony Davis over a Russell Westbrook. Otherwise, you have to give it to one of those Steph Currys or James Harden because they're playing in the toughest conference and their teams are in our top 4. So Russell Westbrook, he's done amazing things. He's pretty much had the ship to himself without KD. So I can understand how he's doing these things, but if I'm giving it to a guy who's not even in the playoffs right now, I'm giving it to Anthony Davis.
Wait a minute, let me ask you this. Would they be that far down in the Western Conference playoff standings if KD wasn't hurt, though?
So is it on KD then? So KD makes
I'm just saying that's going to get you 4 or 5 more wins.
I'll say this. KD makes them a perennial 1, 2, or 3 seed. As we can see. There's a reason they're scuffling for the A spot. I mean, it's the lack of KD.
But I think that bolsters my point as to why Anthony Davis should be the MVP. If Russell Westbrook needs Kevin Durant to be 4 or 5 games up, Anthony Davis doesn't have anybody coming back off, anybody that's a superstar coming back off an injury that he can expect to aid him in his cause. So I mean, I really think we have to give my man AD some credit and recognize what he's doing down in the New Orleans market.
Right. I mean, that's very, very valid points with the discussion about AD. Now, the interesting thing is, with basketball, in your opinion, do numbers lie?
No.
Are you sure?
No, numbers are real.
Explain. I mean, explain why you say, Dwayne. Let's start with you.
They're real.
All right. What's your thoughts on that, Dwayne? Do numbers lie?
I mean, I don't.
Because a lot of people are worried about stats, and everybody always brings out stats and different things like that. But do numbers lie?
Well, the stats is what gets the accolades, but no, numbers don't lie. I mean, that's your production. That's what you're doing in your art. That you, whatever respective sport you're playing. So, I to answer your question, I say numbers don't lie. Sometimes numbers can be somewhat distorted and misleading. I mean, I get that part, but in terms of production, it is what it is.
Do Michael Jordan's numbers lie?
We'll bring that up in a second. We're going to talk about MJ in a second. All right. Dwayne, what's your thoughts on do numbers lie?
I think numbers can be slightly misleading in a sense, and I think the only number that really matters is at the end of the game is who has the most points. And statistically, certain things aren't going to go your in your favor each night, and it's about who puts the best team on the floor, and really at the end of the day, who wants it more.
John, you want to end this?
I agree with Wayman also on that point. I mean, sometimes we talking about a player like Dwight, far as defensive numbers, he has great defensive numbers the last 3 or 4 years. However, his teams don't go further than the second or third round. Then you got somebody like Mike, 6 championships. That's a stat that doesn't lie. He's one of the greatest ever. So they can be deceiving. But at the same time, I mean, that's what we go by when we talk about all-star votes, standards, and things of that nature.
All right. I mean, numbers are a very interesting thing when it comes to hoop, because that's what it always comes down to. He averaged 20 and 10, or he averaged, 19 and 11, or whatever it is. But what was the production level like at the time, and what did that help him get? So that's the interesting thing, if you ask me.
I think there's only a couple guys, and Michael Jordan, his numbers didn't lie with his playoff averages being well above, anybody else's. And, Michael Jordan, and I say another guy like Shaquille O'Neal, whose playoff numbers, when he was in his heyday, they just dwarfed that of other people. I mean, what can you do with a guy averaging 30s, plus 30, plus 15 rebounds, and a handful of assists? I mean, if you're getting that out of one guy every night, you pretty much are going to win a lot of games.
All right, so you know what? That's a great segue.
You know what, Mike? Before you don't want to go to Denver and tell on that guy.
Oh wow! I mean, stop jab. No jabs, please. No jabs on my man Kobe. All right, real quick, man. You're listening to On the Bench featuring John and Dwayne, the bench warmers. All right, now you made up a very interesting conversation. No matter what season that we go through, let's start with you, Dwayne. Why is Michael Jordan's name always brought up? Why can't we let that live? Why can't we let that not die out? But why can't we just let that be what it was and move forward? In every situation, everything comes back to MJ. And why is that?
Can I interject and just
let me just say, look at your feet right now.
I know.
So,
all right, I got the 88.
I think that's one thing why people are constantly reminded of Michael Jordan. At one point, but Michael Jordan really set the bar of the sport of basketball.
Right, but why do we continue to go back to it, though?
And I'm guilty of it. I mean, I always reference someone to what did Jordan do? What individual player has kept at least 3 to 4 Hall of Famers from a title? One simple person. You look at Patrick Ewing, you look at Charles Barkley, you look at Reggie Miller. I mean, you look at a lot of greats, and there's one factor, Karl Malone, as to why they didn't win, and that's influence. Okay, Olajuwon would have been in that conversation, but guess what? He won his 2
when he wasn't there.
I
mean, but the infatuation, I mean, it's just the man that hasn't played hoop in over 13 years, but yet, why do people continue? John, what's your thoughts on it, man?
I was just gonna say, growing up in the Michael Jordan era, nobody's done more for any sport, including Tiger Woods, than Mike did for basketball. Everybody wanted to be like Mike was. It wasn't just a figure of speech. It's the way you live. Everybody thought they could be Mike. Everybody wanted to be Mike. Mike, one thing me
look at the TV now.
It's
look
on
what
right
they're
now.
playing.
But you want to know why it's on right now, Mike B? It's on right now because whenever Mike had to hit a shot to win a game, an important game, he won that game and hit that shot. You can't say that about too many other players in the NBA.
There are at least 5 or 6 patrons here with him on their feet right now.
There's probably more than that.
And maybe even more than that.
So I'm talking about revolutionizing the shoe game.
Right. All right. Let me step in, Wayman. What's your thoughts on that?
Michael Jordan is recognized now and forever will be, and I feel like simply because he's the only player that I can think of off the top of my head. He never lost. He's never lost in the finals. So any player that wants to measure themselves and hold a standard to themselves is like, this guy won every single time he made the trip there, and his numbers were amazing. He was never anybody's number 2. Every time he was there, he was the guy that was willing the team to victory for the most part. I mean, obviously other people played a hand in it, but he played the biggest hand in it every time.
Also, Mike B, the way he finished, not in Washington, but against the Jazz, he finished with a shot over a Hall of Famer to win a title.
Hall of Famer? Brian Russell's not a Hall of Famer.
Well, Hall of Famer's team.
I'm talking about
Karl Malone. Mistaken in that
went over Karl Malone's head.
Brian Russell is not a Hall of Famer.
Karl Malone was going for the rebound, and it was nothing but net.
All right, Dwayne, go ahead.
Again, everyone. Hey, in sum on this topic, everyone's bar is going to be set based on Michael Jordan. Kobe, in my opinion, in terms of his likeness, Kobe Bryant was the closest thing, in my opinion. A person with that dog in him, a person who just goes get it, who has the chips behind his name to also support it. But other than that, I mean, he's the bar, and that's why we always reference him. I mean, he's the bar even more than
equal credit. You can't give Kobe credit without crediting Shaq.
Kobe had one of the greatest centers, greatest players,
the greatest center ever.
Of all time.
The only other, I mean, like I said, only.
But this is the thing. Both of y'all acting like Jordan didn't play with Hall of Famers, though.
He didn't play with Shaq.
He played with it. Not with Shaq. Yeah, not with Shaq.
I agree with that. But at the same time,
Shaq 8 titles.
You know what we love so much about Michael Jordan? It's that dog in him. It's that will to win. That whatever.
But there's other players that have the dog.
Well, Kobe Bryant, and I reference him, is because
he's a puppy.
There have been times where he's had the same
kind of dog.
Oh my God!
Come on.
The disrespect level is just at an all-time high here on the bench.
Who we disrespecting, Shaq?
No, you're disrespecting Kobe.
Kobe's not punching anybody in practice because they're not giving it their all. Right. He's not doing that. That's not the type of excellence he demanded out of players. That was, like I said, that was his biggest shortcoming. He didn't make other players better. You know, even if he had to.
He didn't make better players better.
No, Shaq made him better, and then
So you're telling me right now that Kobe didn't make Sasha Vujacic better?
What? I mean, no.
Stop.
Vujacic
is a champion.
Vujacic
is a champion.
He is a champion.
He is a champion
because of the efforts of others.
He is a champion. He is a champion.
Vujacic can credit his championships to Shaq first and foremost.
Hey, where are they now?
Is a champion.
Where are they now?
Don't start this Shaq Kobe debate.
He's living good.
But
anyways, all right, we're gonna end this, wrap up this segment right here. We're getting ready to listen to tunes from DJ Lady Lethal here on the Survivor Radio Network. We're broadcasting live from the Tavern here on Campbellton. We want to thank them again. Also, the Survivor Radio Network for allowing us to come and setting up the shop. Shout outs to Mark and shout outs to Clark for helping me with the setup. And the bench warmers, we're out here doing it. Jordan, I guess Jordan rules, right?
Not necessarily.
Jordan rules,
right? For now.
Jordan for now. I mean,
he just reached billionaire status, so he keeps his name in the paper. He won't let us forget about him, Mike.
I guess.
You won't let us forget about. I saw the Crispies on your feet. You won't let us forget about him, Mike.
and there it is. Thank you, brother. All right, and that right there, we're gonna leave it right there. When we come back, we're gonna probably talk about the fight. Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Money Team Mayweather. Here we go. Stay with us right here on the bench. Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna do something.
Hey, good stuff, man.
We're probably gonna do that.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff, man. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good segment. Good stuff, man.
I'm good. I'm good. we're gonna bypass that one. We're gonna bypass this one and just go right there, and then we'll combine these two and wrap it up.
How many fights does Floyd have?
47.
I'm hearing so many good things about what's going on in the air, right?
I'm telling you,
Good to be a part of, man.
I'm telling you, bro. When I thought about this, you always were in my mind.
You a good orchestrator and shit, man. That's
Hey,
what
I'm tell you. All right, welcome back to On the Bench with Mike B, featuring John and Dwayne, the bench warmers. All right, we had this discussion earlier, and this is the section where I would like to get people in the fans. All right, so gentlemen, ladies, let's talk about May 2nd. May 2nd is happening. May 2nd is happening, and when it happens, it's Floyd versus Pac. John is an avid. That Pacquiao is mud.
An avid Floyd fan. Let's
Avid
say what
Floyd
I am.
fan. He's an avid Floyd fan.
And still
champion. I get it. I mean, no, Floyd is a monster. I just want to hear what you got, man.
It's probably one of the biggest fights of history. I mean, honestly, in terms of build-up, I mean, this fight has been in the making for maybe 10 years, it seems like.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe a little bit less. But Pacquiao, Floyd, no doubt, is a champion. He's undefeated. How can you ignore anyone who's undefeated in anything for that amount? But as I said a few weeks ago on the show, guys,
it only takes one.
It only takes one. James Buster Douglas. So, my point is, like Michael Tyson was invincible. Hey, it happened on one night in I think 1989 or 90, whenever it was.
Did you call him Michael Tyson?
The only thing is, Floyd won't be doing opium the night before this fight.
Pacquiao is so hungry. This will revive whatever he had of a career. And I think anyone is dangerous who has nothing to lose and who's out there just slinging, basically. So we'll see. I mean, Floyd he's not an intimidating factor to me. And I say that because of his KO ratio. He is someone who's a tactician, no doubt, and a part of boxing is tactical, the way you execute.
It is.
But in the same token, though, at the end of the day, Floyd, I don't know if he scares anyone from that standpoint. So I feel like Pacquiao, in sum, Pacquiao has nothing to lose, everything to gain, and this will really revive his career because he had a little downtime in the last couple of years.
Well, you're right. I mean, we're sitting here talking about this fight. I mean, I haven't been this excited for a fight probably since I was a child when I was watching Sugar Ray, fight, No Mas. What was No Mas's name? Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran. I mean, I haven't been that excited. I mean, I was a child then. Wait a minute, jump in here. What's your thoughts on the fight, man?
I mean, I don't gamble against perfection and Floyd's craft and the way he prepares for fights and even the way he lives his life. He's not drinking, he's not smoking, he's not. I mean, he's looking at the bigger picture. I think Floyd. We're looking at May 2nd. Floyd is in 2017 somewhere, thinking about those millions he has to collect then. So, and I feel like Pacquiao. I mean, nothing to be afraid of. I mean, this guy's never lost. I mean, he doesn't have to knock you out to sit there and beat you up, for 12 rounds. I mean, and nobody likes to, land a third of the punches that this guy's landing on you and, just get embarrassed all night. And that's what continuously happens.
Yeah, if Floyd, I understand people not scared of Floyd, but Floyd not going to knock you out. Floyd's main attribute is defense. His defense is impenetrable, and he doesn't get hit. That's why he's lasted so long. If Floyd has one weak spot, as I said last week, it's how brittle his hands are from hitting people all these years. That's the only thing that worries me is Floyd maybe breaking his hands on Pacquiao. But that would hurt Floyd. And I'm not really talking junk about Pacquiao. I'm saying you break your hand as a fighter, you have a rough fight the rest of that fight. His hands are real brittle. That's known. But there's no chance Pacquiao's gonna win this fight. I'm sorry. I mean, I've never seen, like I asked y'all last week, how many people here at the tavern, how many people listening to the show, how many times have you seen Floyd hurt? Think about it. How many times have you seen Floyd hurt?
I mean, that
is
in
trouble for that matter.
That is, I mean, like we established it. And that's the thing. I would like to hear from some of the people here at the tavern. If you have an opinion on May 2nd, everybody in America is probably going to be watching that fight. I mean, everybody's going to be having parties. Everybody's in the thing. I'd like to hear opinions from people that have their opinions on the fight. If there's anybody going with Pacquiao, that would be interesting, especially right here.
Any Pacquiao takers?
Is there anybody that respects Pacquiao?
Any Pacquiao takers?
Monica Butler.
Takers.
You have any?
The takers.
All right. So we got a person that rocks with Pacquiao. Who are you, and welcome to On the Bench.
Hi, I'm Jamal Harris. I know Mike from back in the day.
There it is. Go ahead. Why you think Pacquiao's gonna win this fight?
I mean, I put it like this: Pacquiao still trains as hard as Mayweather does. We got to give him the respect. You might lose, like Muhammad Ali lost. Like, people still lose, but I tell you, like, he trains just as hard as he does. And I mean, Mayweather was kind of running for a little bit to have this fight. That's why it's delayed.
Oh wow.
Hey, I think Mayweather might have been running from the steroid use. You know, he wouldn't take a drug test. That's why Mayweather wouldn't fight him.
So what is it about Pacquiao that you like that makes you excited about? You think Pacquiao can win this fight?
Pacquiao has more knockouts. So I like to see maybe if potentially he can knock out Mayweather. I've never seen it done. Mayweather hasn't lost, but if anybody can do it, I have faith in Pacquiao.
You have faith in Pacquiao.
All it takes, very good point. All it takes is one punch, and I know Mayweather's undefeated. I get it, but at the end of the day, all it takes is one punch. And when you look at one of Pacquiao's attributes, it is the knockout.
Did Pacquiao get knocked out by Marquez?
Yeah, he went to sleep.
Did Floyd destroy Marquez?
And so has Sugar Ray, and so has Mike Tyson.
I mean, there's people but see, that's
Tommy
the thing,
Hearns,
and that's
and
right. Everybody, a lot of people went to sleep. Floyd has not went to sleep. So, did you grow up a Pacquiao fan, or how did you fall in love with Pacquiao over over Floyd?
Pacquiao is okay. So when I was little, I was reading this article on Pacquiao and how he trains. This is before I saw how Floyd Mayweather trains. Mind you, Floyd Mayweather trains around the cameras, like always around the cameras. He wants people to see that. We don't see Pacquiao's training. He doesn't.
But see, that's the thing. We don't see Floyd training.
We do. But the thing is, he has other.
I see Floyd train at 3 in the morning. They say Floyd trains at 3 in the morning.
But you see,
after night,
he has a press conference. He has a press conference at his trainings when he wants them there. I don't ever see that with Pacquiao. When I turn on SportsCenter, I'll see Floyd Mayweather training in front of thousands of cameras. I don't see that with Pacquiao.
So you're saying that
we can see what Floyd Mayweather does, so we see his work ethic, but we don't see what Pacquiao does in the background.
Hey, they don't come see you train after you done lost fights.
and that's valid, Dwayne. I know
I just don't know many people who's gone their whole career undefeated, and at some point, guys, it can happen, and I think Pacquiao is a valuable opponent for that to happen against. And he has nothing to lose. Imagine just out there with everything to gain and nothing to lose, with some punch power.
And with some punch power. I mean, that's.
I agree with you, Dwayne. One punch can end it all. I just never seen Floyd hurt. I keep going back to that. I never seen him in trouble. I never seen him hurt. Not against Maidana, even though a lot of people want to say that, but that was just a wild after-school fight, and Floyd still whipped him. The second half of the fight, he whipped Maidana. The first fight, whipped him the whole time. The second fight, I mean, I never seen him hurt, man.
I mean, it's an interesting thing. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell you right now that May 2nd is going to be truly, truly amazing, just as an aspect of just something to watch, man. Women, I mean, what are you expecting? What do you want to see out of the fight?
I mean, I want to see a great fight, but I think we're going to see what we see all the time from Floyd Mayweather, a defensive position taken. He's going to take his time. He's going to feel him out. He's going to look for Pacquiao to make mistakes. He's going to fight flawlessly, and I expect to see Floyd Mayweather scoring 10s and Pacquiao scoring 9s each round.
It might be close, but if it's close, it's just for the rematch and the money.
Exactly,
if it's close.
exactly.
Because there's so much money on the line. Why not make it close if you Floyd if you can get another $100 and some odd $1 million?
Yeah,
So are we fixing matches now?
I mean, but that's the boxing way, though. That's definitely the boxing way. I mean, Dwayne. I mean, you seem like you disenthused with it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of fixing fights. I'm out again. I'm an '80s kid. I remember the middleweight division. I remember really good fights, and I'm that's sort of embedded in me. So at the same token, all the antics, I leave that to wrestling, and I won't say.
Well, I'm not saying
fighting,
Floyd is going to try to make it close. I'm saying if it is close, That would be.
Oh, it's going to be a heck of a payday.
Right. And I mean, anybody that's at that level of boxing, trying to make it close could be very, very dangerous. You know, but I think if it is now, if it's a decided win by Floyd, there's no need for a rematch. Floyd need to move on to the next two opponents, and then that's it.
All right. I mean, let's get ready to wrap this up because we got a special guest coming in that's going to join the bench in a second. Wayman, real quick. I mean, tell me everything you want to see in this fight. What do you want to see out of it?
I mean, I expect it to go the distance. If there's a knockout, it'll be a late knockout. But I mean, I want to see Floyd. I want to see Floyd do what he does, and I want to see Pacquiao. I want to see them both stick to what they do. Pacquiao's gonna go in there and throw a lot of punches and put the pressure on you. Floyd's gonna try to do his thing and avoid those punches and counterpunch. So I want to see that. And I mean, I think this fight comes down to who makes the mistake.
Who makes the mistake?
Well, can Floyd be caught making a mistake? And does Pacquiao's punching power have the ability to make him pay for that mistake?
And there it is. All right, before we get out of here, we're getting ready to go. We have a special guest. We got a special guest that's going to join the bench here on the Survivor Radio Network. We have a long distance runner, a person, and we're going to miss Tess Sobo. Hey, thank you so much for coming out and supporting the event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So tell us, what is it about running?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me again. And I'm not a professional runner by any means. I actually just started running about 4 years ago, and I was a basketball player, played high school, college, all that good stuff. And I was definitely the person that would say there's no need to run unless there's a ball in front of me. Or what's the other one? I don't need to run unless I'm being chased. All that stuff you used to hear.
No, I understand that.
I never ran more than a mile for training for anything, and a mile was like long distance. But after you kind of get over the fact that you can't do like you used to. I'm 37, so I got into my early 30s. I'm like, okay, maybe I can't just go play pickup basketball for 45 minutes. You try to figure out something else that you can get better at as you go. So I started running around like the Georgia Tech area in Atlanta, and saw myself get a little bit better and be able to go longer. And then I did my first 5K, and then I did a 10K, and then I started hanging out with the wrong people, and now I'm doing all kinds of stuff, marathons, all that good stuff. So
and there it is. So we're sitting here on the bench with Tess Sobo. She is a marathon distance runner. We want to know, so what marathons have you ran, or which ones are the big ones that you want to participate in?
Yeah, excellent question. So I was very fortunate. I've done 3 marathons in 4 years, and I was very fortunate. I did the Chicago Marathon, which is amazing. I mean, it's basically a tour of Chicago on foot. I did the Marine Corps Marathon, which is in Washington, D.C., and then this year I did the New York City Marathon,
that's
which
awesome.
is
that's amazing.
That's like the Rockstar Marathon, and it's a lottery system for folks that are just average runners like me. So you have to put your name in, and I was lucky enough to get in the first year, and I mean, it's a great experience.
So tell me this. Tell me, what is the training regimen of somebody that's a marathon runner?
That's what I want to know. How long do you run? When you train and practice, how long do you run?
Well, first, let me just make sure everyone knows that a marathon is 26.2 miles. So that's not a 5K.
Woo!
A 5K is 3 miles.
Think about that.
You guys could probably get out, train for about a month, and be ready for a 5K. So usually for a marathon, you want to train about 18 weeks, and it builds up. If you're a brand new runner, you want to give yourself probably like 22 weeks, but you're running like 3 to 4 days during the week and then a long run on the weekends. And again, you're building it up. You don't go out and run 20 miles every weekend. You might do that once, maybe twice in your training cycle, but it's the dedication. A lot of folks will say it's like a second job because you got to get up, and especially here in Atlanta, you got to beat the heat. So people start at like 5 in the morning for their long runs. But it's so rewarding,
That's awesome.
Hey, to your point, thank you so much for being on with us. My wife can attest to this. Running is my method of weight loss, in a sense. And whether it's not necessarily running around a track, it's running around the subdivision. Does outdoor running, and this is a off-the-wall question, but does outdoor running versus treadmill running or indoor running? Are there any advantages from a weight loss perspective to outdoor running? Up hills, down hills, craters, definitely. What have you?
Well, I mean, I will tell you, like, once you start running outdoors, you will despise the treadmill. But from I guess a physics standpoint, the treadmill helps you a lot when you run, so you don't get the same effects. Like if you're trying to improve your running, it's really difficult on a treadmill because you think about it, it's not allowing you to push back because it's doing it for you. So, I mean, if you have the option to run outside, then I would say take that. But a treadmill is a great alternative for these, crazy weather days that we have. But again, once you become an outdoor runner, you'll love it. Like you'll hate the days we have to get on the treadmill.
All right, so tell me this now. Tell me what it feels like. How do you have to train your body to run in the elements?
In the elements?
Yeah, in the elements.
I tell you, I'm from the Midwest, and the cold running is not my favorite. But I run with a lot of running groups, and just once you get out there, you're fine. You just have to learn how to dress, and it's really a mental thing. You really got to just like make yourself do it. You put the cart before the horse. I mean, it's like any sport. That one thing, when we play basketball, morning workouts was always the thing we hated. But once you get out there, you're with your teammates, you're going through the drills, then you're fine.
It gets easier every day.
Yeah, easier. Yeah. Never easy, though.
Right,
never
easier.
Yeah. I mean, I did a race this morning. It was raining, but the temperature wasn't too bad. But once you got going, the rain actually felt pretty good.
Okay, so go ahead, Dwayne.
I have one other question. The Peachtree Road Race, obviously we're here in Atlanta, and that's one of the more popular runs. Where does that rank in terms of races or marathons? Is that
around
a pretty rigorous
The Peachtree
run?
is the largest 10K in the world. I mean, it is like people come here from all over the world to participate in the race that we have here in our city. And it's kind of funny you mentioned that because my first year here in Atlanta, I wasn't a runner. I didn't even know it happened. So, like, if you wake up at 10 o'clock on 4th of July, you've missed the whole thing. But, I mean, it's an amazing event. You'll get a lot of folks who that's the one race they do every year. You get folks who will have maybe a few races, and that's their mountaintop race. But it's a great experience.
Have you run that race?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I've done it 3 times, so it's my 4th year.
Good deal. Super.
That's awesome. All right, before we get you out of here, I just want to know, tell me your thoughts. Obviously we had the tragedy in Boston with that marathon. Has that, in the racing community, has that affected racing, or are people intimidated by going up there, or are people afraid to race because afraid of a terroristic act?
I will tell you that it did not deter people from wanting to race. I actually hosted a 5K that weekend right after it happened. And I mean, we had people come out because they wanted to show, hey, we're not afraid. But you did see a lot of beef up in security, particularly at the big races. I think that was the year I did Marine Corps. So we had a lot of rules about like what you could carry on the course. You have to have a plastic bag and all that, which, I mean, that's fine. Like, you want to make sure that you're as safe as possible. But in terms of the spirit of getting out there and running, I think it might have even increased it.
That's awesome. America's strong. John?
Hey, just thanks for being here. I mean, that's motivation for me. I know I run and I stop. I run and I stop.
And that's okay.
So now that you've been, I'm gonna start running tomorrow, everybody.
There it is. Real quick before we get you out of here, do you have like a website, or do you have anything? Go ahead and promote that.
So my organization, we're called Running Nerds. Basically,
I love
people are nerdy about running, and all cultures, all levels, beginners, walkers, speed demons, and so if you want to start a running journey, we're mostly based in the city, but we do have some sister groups and satellite groups. But find a running group. We got a lot of great running specialty stores in Atlanta. Big Peach, Fidipides, West Stride are all really good. So if you're interested in getting started, just go outside your door and run around the subdivision.
Monica, take that website down. Your husband needs it. Okay?
That is awesome. Thank you so much for joining us here on the bench.
Hey, can I just give a shout out to UVA?
100%.
UVA basketball. I know we didn't come through in the ACC tournament, but we're gonna get our first.
So you're University of Virginia grad?
Wahoo, baby.
There it is. Hold on, while we got you here, did you hear Dickie V? Dickie V shouted out. He I think he slipped up in his words, and he said UVA loves these hoes.
That's all right.
No. I just
He'll be saying good things about us real soon.
No. But it's just I think he slipped up with his wording. But that's awesome. How you feel you guys gonna do in the tournament?
I think we'll do well. I mean, you know, the thing you say when you lose is we needed that loss.
Right.
You know, we didn't want to go in too confident, so we're gonna go with that.
That is awesome. I actually have a little sister who applied to.
It's a great school.
To UVA from Los Angeles. That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us here on the bench.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. All right, there it is. Thank you. All right, we got one more segment after this. It's Goats and Asses right here on the bench. Now it's time for DJ Lady Lethal on the ones and twos.
On this, we're just gonna do the same. Everybody get a golden ass, and that's it. Golden ass, that's it. Okay, even though it's 6:30.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up in about 15 minutes.
Okay. Let's say, yeah, that was all right, man.
That was all right.
Good interview, man.
Y'all did that. Oh, my man. Y'all got it, man. Hey. Testing.
We did it, gentlemen. That we did. That we did. That we did it. Yeah, you the orchestrator. It's easy, man. It's easy. Make sure you re-up.
We just gonna end it up goats and ass. We are basically the best player of the week, the worst player of the week, kind of deal. I'm a stoner. This is awesome, though, right here.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm just saying, man. I appreciate small.
Like,
people who you like,
right,
man, they're just doing what we like.
They're doing what we like.
You did all the legwork, man.
But now the work starts. Now it's we got a good product. We got a good product.
We do.
You know,
a good product talk, man.
And that person. It's like, what?
Jumbo.
And then we got a good owner. He's willing to support us. Last year was the year of the hobby, man. Like you said it. I said I did the radio shit, so the DJ school. Huh? John, you want to re-up? I'm good. Thank you, man. Thank you. Alita. Oh, it makes you want to go that type of place.
That's what I was getting.
Hey. Final segment here on the bench here at the Tavern. Before we get out of here, just wanted to say thank you to the Tavern for allowing us to do this. This was truly special for On the Bench as well as the Survivor Radio Network. Dwayne, what's your thoughts on that, man?
Hey, my sentiments exactly, Mike, to the Tavern, just for affording us the opportunity to sit here and just talk sports like we do sometime. And I have to give a major shout out to everybody who's here, who's sat here and listened to us. Personally, my wife and my little boy who's here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Major supporters and the Noops. I mean, I would be remiss if I don't mention the Noops. I mean, the Noops in the house.
There it is.
Yo. My LB, BJ, my boy said.
There it is, man.
Okay.
It is truly awesome to be able to do this live. The staff here at the Tavern have been incredible, accommodating everybody that's especially a part of On the Bench, but yet alone just accommodating everybody here. This is a place that you want to hang out with. Right here at the Tavern on Campbellton, I would definitely be, stepping through here quite a bit. I used to work around the block, and this place is truly special. So, John, what you got on that, man?
Oh, yeah, I want to thank the Tavern also. I want to thank everybody for coming out. My family, my mom, my wife, my kids are also here. Everybody who stayed and listened, the engineers, DJ, killing it.
Definitely.
We don't do it a lot, but I want to take this opportunity to thank Mike B for this, giving me and Dwayne this platform.
Absolutely.
I couldn't do it without you guys, y'all.
Being able to do something, that's not a 9 to 5, something that we both enjoy doing, even this today, 4 hours, it all seems like it's not enough. We can always go longer. We always want to talk sports. So I just want to thank Mike B for allowing me to participate, on this radio show.
And see, no. This is definitely our radio show. But real quick, before we get out of here, Mr. Clark Garrison, can you come join the mic real quick? Jump on the mic real quick. This is what I want you. That's why I did it at the end. But I just want to say thank you, sir, just for allowing not only to envisioning what I've been wanting to do, but just allowing us to do it, man. I mean, this is just so special, and I know Survivor Radio is your baby, and you nurture it, you do everything to support, and I'm just so thankful to be a part of your organization, man. And whatever it takes, I'm all in, man. And so are these guys, and you do a fantastic job. It just the support system is amazing, man. I just want to say thank you, man.
Hey, Mike B and the Bench Warmers, man. Thank you guys so much. This is what we put this program together for. This is what this network was for, is to bring like-minded people together and really take this thing to a whole nother level. Because in my belief, there are sports shows out there, but there are not sports families out there.
Right.
That's what we want to create. Thank you guys for putting together a top-notch show and being serious about what we're doing. And I want to thank you guys for doing that.
Thank you so much, man. I mean,
it just
my pleasure. And we only going up as a family, like you said. Survivor Radio Network they have so many different shows, and this is just one avenue of the show and of the program and the family, and it's just going so many different places. And On the Bench is just proud to be a part of that. And whatever we can do, whatever you need us to do, we're there for the Survivor Radio Network.
So what I need you to do is continue to be excellent.
Hey,
and let's start the Survival Radio Sports Network.
Hey, it's coming.
Coming out
it's
soon.
It's coming.
Yes,
Let's do it. Let's do it. We're definitely looking forward to doing the Survival Radio Sports Network. It's coming. We got hot shows on the Survival Sports Radio. We got a Chat in the Garden, and that's another show that's on the Survival Radio Network that's centered around athletic directors. And just beware. And it's coming. It's Buzz Talk Radio, home of the true Yellow Jacket fan. That's coming too. There's so many different things that's coming with Survivor Radio Network. So just be ready for Survivor Radio Network. This time next year, Survivor Radio Network is going to be one of the best, if not already one of the best. It's going to be right there with everything, and we're just happy to be a part of it.
By the way, guys, we are 52,000 downloads away from 1 million downloads,
and that's an accomplishment in itself. When we get to 1 million downloads, we're going to be at 1 million downloads within the next couple months as a family, and that's going to really be something special. And we're able to do something that a lot of people can't do, and we're going to really be able to move. We got people that moved and got into the president's cabinet and was in the White House. We had people that were here in Congress, down at the thing. So, and now the next thing is to penetrate sports with this show. I mean, we got people that just it's amazing to be a part of, and I just want to say thank you for that.
Can I give a little shout out?
Well, of course.
All right, so I got to give much love to Mark Parham.
100%.
Yes,
Mark Parham.
Mark P in the house.
He definitely set this up.
Without Mark, man, none of this will be fruition because he took the idea and ran with it and knew how to put it together. So I want to say he's the backbone of what we're doing. Big shout out to you, brother. Shouts out to my wife
100%.
because she allowed me to have the time
there it is.
to do this. And to everybody, all our SRN, Paula G is in the house.
Paula G, your time, 8:30.
And
8:30.
Much love to Tess Sobo. I met her 3-4
there
years
it is,
ago.
Tess Sobo.
Tess was like in the first year of my broadcast 4 years ago. I don't know how I tricked her to come on, but she came on my show and I didn't know what I was doing. So big shouts out to you, Tess, for being there. Yes.
There it is. And this week on In the Mix is going to be DJ Lady Lethal.
DJ.
Hey, DJ Lady Lethal.
So let me tell you about that show. We've got a show Friday at 1 p.m. on the network, survivalradionetwork.us.
There it is.
26 shows deep, 18 states, 1 million.
It's coming soon. It's coming.
In the Mix is a DJ broadcast 1-hour show from the best Atlanta mix artists out.
And there it is.
And she's going to be on it
there
this
it
Friday.
Is.
Holla at your boy.
There it is. And that's awesome. So it's coming soon. I just want to say, Clark thanked his wife. Aletha's my girlfriend, for the last couple of years. I love you. And just thank you for all your support. You put this right here. You made this happen by buying a mix board for me and a microphone. I just want to say I love you. And you're just awesome. All right. So I just, she is an amazing woman, and I'm just happy that I'm in her life and that she's in my life. So, all right, that's enough with that. All right, enough. All right, enough with the sappy shit. All right, here we go. All right.
Shouts out to the noob.
And also the noob. There it is for support me. All right. Here we go. All right, final segment of the show. Before we get out of here. A person that's been down with us from the beginning. I want to introduce on the bench, Mount Rushmore, Aaron Jameson to the bench. Hey, come join us. I saw you come in. And you call in. You've been on several different shows. You rep North Carolina. You rep the University of Miami. You came in with several different opinions. Hey, I just want to say, hey, thank you for your support. I know you listening every week, and I just want to say, hey, thank you, bro. No and I want you to join us for this final segment here at the Tavern here at Campbellton.
Definitely.
Hey, so let's get into it. Hey, Lady Lethal, real quick. Hey, you got House Party real quick. It's only right to play House Party before we get into Goats and Asses. Do you have that in the queue? Yes, Meek Mill House Party.
Meek Mill.
You have that. Hey, Meek Mill House Party.
That's how.
That's how we do it. We gonna queue up Meek Mill before we get out of here one time. Meek Mill House Party, and then we gonna get into Goats and Asses and get out of here and thank the Tavern one more time.
I got my goat now. I just figured it out. I got my
That song right there, we end it every week on that song. So, hey, with that said, Aaron, who's your GOAT of the week, man?
My GOAT of the week is Michael. My GOAT of the week is Michael Jordan for becoming the first billionaire athlete. That's my GOAT of the week.
And there it is.
Jordan.
Michael Jordan is his GOAT of the week. Dwayne, who you got as your GOAT of the week, man?
Hey, my GOAT of the week, I got two segments of my GOAT of the week. First, from the sports standpoint, Russell Westbrook, again, I mean, I know we talked a lot, man, but to have this many triple doubles, the way he's balling out and trying to get this team into the playoffs, that's my sports GOAT of the week. From a personal GOAT of the week, it's everybody out here today, and in particular, as Mike mentioned earlier, it's our families, my wife, who sacrificed the time for me to, get away and talk sports. So you all are our true GOATs of the week. Thank you all, and thank you, the Tavern, for what you're doing.
And there it is. John, who's your GOAT of the week, man?
I kind of got a two-legged GOAT of the week, too. It's got to do with all the racism taking place in the United States. I got to take Serena Wilson for going back to Indian Wells, where they got treated so badly back in the mid-'90s, her and her sister, as far as racial tension. And I also got to give a big shout-out to the Oklahoma football team for stepping out, letting everybody around that campus know, don't pat me on the back and be in my face when behind closed doors and on buses, you dissing me and my family.
And there it is. And my GOAT of the week, is not only the Survivor Radio Network is going to be my GOAT of the week, but my other GOAT of the week is going to be Kyrie Irving for what he did on Thursday against the Spurs. He lit their ass up for 57. So that's going to be my GOAT of the week. All right, my ass of the week. Aaron Stark, who's your ass of the week, man?
I got a double ass of the week. My first ass of the week is Duke for laying that egg last night. The second ass of the week is Christian Laettner for being Christian Laettner.
There it is.
I love it.
And
yes.
there it is.
Yes.
Double Duke, double down. All right, Dwayne, who's your ass of the week, man?
My ass of the week, again, we're going to go back to Atlanta sports. The Falcons for no activity in free agency. Everybody else is making headlines, and the Falcons is making it like they were good last year and they didn't need improvement. So they're my ass of the week for no moves in free agency.
All right, and there it is. John, who's your ass of the week, man?
My ass of the week, I saw TC walk in. He's the biggest Georgia Tech fan I know, but I got to go with Brian Gregory. 55 and 71. You lose to BC. You fire Paul Hewitt. Paul Hewitt took you to the game, and now you got Brian Gregory. Come on, Georgia Tech. I want to go back to the days of Anderson, Scott, and Oliver.
Lethal Weapon 3. And my ass of the week is the Los Angeles Lakers. They lost to the Knicks. So that's enough said. Lost to the Knicks. They lost to the Knicks. Bump squads, man. All right, so that's my ass of the week. Gentlemen, it's been awesome. Thank y'all for doing this. Thank the Tavern one more time. The Tavern has been awesome. Give it up for the Tavern real quick. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Survivor Radio Network. Thank you, Aaron, for joining us. Benchwarmers, John and Dwayne, thank you. Survivor Radio Network family, we did it.
You the man, Mike B. Mike B, give it up for Mike B, y'all. We here for Mike B.
All right, and with that said, John, you got anything?
Coach, put me in. I'm leaving the Tavern.
There it is. Aaron, you got anything?
Go Heels.
Go Heels.
You want to hear me every week, and I'm going to always say it, go Dogs.
And then I'm always going to end it with fight on, baby, fight on. We love y'all. Thank y'all for joining us. It's over. There it is.
I don't want. I saw that. I was like, should I tell him?
Definitely got a skill.
We have fun with this. Yeah, this is
Hey, I like
no
mine.
seriously.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I'm on it.
I need you to get with that.
Now it's time.